Thank you for coming. Second class, we have a big day today. Does anybody have any questions left over for Tuesday or something that you thought of that you'd like to ask me? A silly question? I have a question that if I were you, I'd ask me. Is why on the sheet on Tuesday were you asking about stress level? Was that something that crossed your mind? Yes?
Why on the sheet on Tuesday were you asking about stress level?
Oh, thanks for asking that. Well, I became aware of the Stanford duck syndrome and the stress that students are under. And I thought it might be a good idea to ask people about their stress level. And I found out that there is a advantage to there's an advantage to is it still registering on the audio? Yeah. Okay. There's an advantage to having you be aware of your stress level so that you can manage it and say, hey, I feel stressed, and you can do something about it, okay? So that's why I asked that question. Okay, so I want to thank you all for attending, enrolling, being here, filling out your evaluations and the comments on Tuesday. I want to thank the Haas Center for providing some funding for this. I want to thank the community members who have suggested projects and are here today to pitch them. The other people who are not here who suggested projects and are going to be working with the teams. Reminder for community members who weren't here on Tuesday and for students that not to use their laptops or smartphones until the break. And I see you're doing a great job. So thank you. If you haven't already done so, enroll or drop on Access because I want to get the enrollment stabilized to a point. If you weren't here on Tuesday, I have a handout for Genevieve if she's not here again. Okay. Okay, this is sort of important. If you know that you're going to miss a class, let me know. But I don't want to know why you're going to miss a class, okay? Because if you say I'm going to miss a class because of this and this and the other thing, that puts me in a position to evaluate, if that's truthful or not. And I don't want to be in that situation. So just tell me, Dave, I'm going to have to miss this upcoming class. I'm going to make it up. I'm going to watch all the materials and then I'm sign up to meet with you to make up the class. That's what I want to hear, okay? So no reasons. By the way, this is Bernie Ross' book. He's in our department, and this is his slogan. Okay. I want to remind everybody to sign the pink attendance sheet for every time that you're here. This is how I count for your attendance. And as you know, attendance is meaningful in this because we put a lot of effort into coming up with these lectures, and I want to make sure that you get the most out of it. So please do that. If you're working on a team project, you got this handout on Tuesday, which you can refer to during the pitches. Okay. Today's handout for teams working on projects is this page. Who's working on a team project that doesn't have a handout? Okay, great. That worked out. On next Tuesday, we're going to have our first guest lecturer, and this is Gail, sort of squished from top to bottom, but there he is in real life. Hi, Gail. I've known Gail for a long time now, and he's going to do a great job talking about need finding and assistive technologies and how you interview people with disabilities, so it's going to be great. So the things left over from Tuesday that I noticed from your evaluations is I talked about persistent vegetative state, and that is actually a loss of higher brain function. And you might remember Terry Schiavo, who had that condition. It looks like she's alive and awake, but was basically brain dead. And this actually came up yesterday, that there's a woman with who was in this vegetative state who gave birth to a baby. So, that's a big issue, how did that happen? So this comes up all the time. Also want to remind you that there's a lot of information on the course website. So check that out. Lecture schedule is up there. One thing I didn't mention about disability is that you can, in some countries, girls are not allowed to go to school. So that means just by being a woman, a girl, you're missing out on something. So I heard one story of a mother who dressed up her daughter as a boy so that she could go to school. So that is a way to get around that stuff. And I showed Bono as a person with a disability, and his disability is that he has glaucoma and he's very light sensitive, so he always wears these sunglasses. So that's his disability. So today I'm going to introduce you to some new people who aren't all here, and then we're going to have Elliot's going to do a overview of the PRL. There he is. And he took the course last year, so he has a good knowledge of what's going on, and now he's a coach in the PRL, so he has those expertise to talk about. Then we'll have a brief break before we go into the project. The consideration for projects and the project pitches, and at the end, I hope to have enough time so that you can walk around and talk to people who have pitched the projects to get to ask questions and stuff like that. So that's what we're going to do. So here are some folks. Mateo is our correspondent at CES, and I told him to take pictures of any new products that are assistive technology, so maybe we'll show those. On the right is Debbie Kenny. I work with her at the VA. She's an occupational therapist. She'll be talking next week about stroke and some assistive technology devices. Doug Schwant, I also work with. He's a mechanical engineering consultant. And all these folks are available for you to talk to call. I know all of them. And just if you want to talk to them, just call them up and ask them a question. So they're available. They're a part of your team. Jules was in my course about 5 years ago. She does a lot of stuff in the medical area related to newborns and pregnancies and stuff like that. And I think she's teaching a course in the D School. So, another good resource person. So right now we're going to hand it over to Elliot, and he's going to talk about the PRL. Well, let's hear it for Elliot. Advance. About 5 minutes.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name's Elliot. It's nice to meet you all. I recognize some of you from the PRL. So I'm a master's student in mechanical engineering. I took this course last year for 1 unit and did an individual project. So I'm very excited to talk to you about that if you're considering taking the course for that, or just general information about the course, the PRL Stanford. I am here. But today we're going to talk specifically about Room 36. It's going to be probably the more useful group in the PRL to do your initial prototyping at. The PRL in general, Product Realization Lab, is a group of teaching organizations within Stanford. We're focusing on design and manufacturing specifically, so not only putting together the design down on paper, but actually physically building it, testing it, and making it real. So we are open to any Stanford student, so as long as you're a registered student, regardless of major or background, we will absolutely love to work with you in the PRL. Any project, personal or class related, is available. You do need to be aware that we don't allow weapons to be built in the PRL for obvious reasons, and also you can't mass produce something for sale, but you can design something that you'll later outsource for mass production or use in entrepreneurial pursuits. We have both tools and workspaces and also human resources at your disposal, so feel free to come check us out. This is the leadership team of the PRL from your left to right. Dave Beach, Craig Milroy, Marlo Cohn, and Dan Soman. You will most likely see them in and around the lab. And then these are the PRL course assistants, of which I'm one. We're all graduate students in various engineering and other disciplines. The folks that have the red box, myself, Andrea, Rachel, and Tom have all taken this class. So if you see us in the PRL, you can talk to us about that in particular. But you should absolutely feel welcome to speak to any of these folks. We will be staffing the lab in various capacities. So specifically Room 36. Room 36 is a rapid prototyping lab, and we focus on technologies that are geared towards supporting that. So talking about making low fidelity prototypes for early designs, and then also later refining them as you get towards the functionality that you want. I want to highlight that no experience is necessary, so we really do encourage you to come in and start experimenting with processes as soon as you can, and we'll be happy to get you started on whatever technologies you feel might be available and supportive for what you're trying to do. And have fun is very important as well. Some things that we support in the PRL Room 36 specifically: laser cutting, additive manufacturing or 3D printing, 3D scanning, foam cutting, vinyl cutting, sewing, electronics, and we also sell materials. So we have a decent variety of materials, from low fidelity things like cardboard and foam core up to more aircraft grade plywood and things that you might consider using in your final design. And then, as I mentioned, we're also fully staffed whenever we're open, so there will be a graduate student or multiple graduate students here for you to talk through the design process and give you advice on how to execute something technically. As far as our locations go, right now we're in kind of the upper right-hand corner of the map. The offices and classrooms are in the Peterson Building 550, and then Room 36 is in the Huang Engineering Center. The main lab, or Building 610, supports other processes, more traditional machining, welding, casting, those kinds of things. That's located in Building 610 on campus. So how to get started, we've got this link posted here. Web shop is the interface that you will use to take a look at not only when the PRL is open, but how to sign up for a safety class and reserve machines that you might want to use in Room 36. So use your Stanford ID number. You'll sign up for a safety orientation if you haven't taken one this academic year. If you did take one last fall 2018, that will carry over into this year. Pay for a lab pass. You'll be either paying the $80 for this quarter and next quarter, or the $60 for just this quarter. And then, yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you there. And I will be around if you have any questions. Thanks.
Okay, thanks. You're welcome to go.
All right. All right.
So I should mention, thanks, Elliot. I should mention, you know, $60 sounds like a lot of money, but if you pay a consultant, mechanical engineering consultant, or somebody else, you're going to pay them a couple $100 an hour, and $60 for a whole quarter. I mean, that's like inexpensive, and you know, you're not buying a book in the class ever. So these people will help you whatever you want to do. They won't do it for you, but they'll tell you how to do it. They have a wide range of experience to tell you maybe how to do things, maybe the different choices you have to come up with a particular function that you might need. So that's and it will ease your project. So it'll make it easier for you to come up with something that is fantastic and functional and will get you a really good grade. Okay, is that motivation or what? Okay. So now we're going to take a short break because we want to go through the pitches straight through. So now's the time for a break. If you haven't signed in on the attendance sheet or want to talk to me or sign up to meet with me sometime, there's a sign-up sheet over there. This is your time to do it, and we'll be back in about 5 minutes.